Hello. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening and welcome to What's Important Now. We are a live stream that is a derivative of Worthy Leadership Group and the Worthy Podcast. I'm excited to connect with all of you tonight, whether it's live or on the replay. I have a couple of things that I want to talk about tonight. Really, honestly, this is more of a catch-up than it is anything else. I have been not active in my own group because I've been iterating, man. I've been going through some thoughts around how I want to impact kind of people, the world, and really what I want to stand for. And so it's kind of caused me to take this pause, but now I'm back. This live stream is a jump off from what I've done over the last 30 days, and I'll get into everything else here shortly. But I did want to give a shout out to the Ecamm Live community and also Live Streaming Pros. And what they did was we went through this process. It's called LEDA, where you go live each and every day in April. And so for 30 days, I actually went live inside that community, because most of you have probably seen me try and kind of fumble a little bit with going live. And so I felt that I needed to get my weight up. I felt that I needed to kind of do things a little differently. And so that's what I've been doing. And I'm excited to kind of jump back in here into the community, into the group, talk about a couple of things, and then we're going to discuss a little bit more about some of the changes that we actually have kind of taken place. But before we even get started again, I don't know if most of you who know me, and those who don't know me, you will get to know me. And a massive part of my life, of the things that I like to do, something that I pay a lot of attention to, is what we call here in America soccer. But I am such a purist, I actually call it football. So I just wanted to give a shout out to my home team, my team, Manchester City. We are going to the Champions League finals. I'm excited about that. We're going to be playing against Chelsea. So just wanted to give the little shout out. No reason to plug them other than the fact that they are my team, and I'm pretty psyched about this. I'm excited to talk to all of you tonight as well. We are going to be going through a few things, and based on where we are right now, a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. One of the things that I will definitely do this evening is that I want to talk about each one of these points, but I want to make sure if you have a question or if you have something that you want to talk about, or you have a point that you want to make from any of the things that I'm going to discuss tonight, please feel free to go ahead and leave a comment. Or if you have a question, put a Q in front of it, so that way I know that it's a question and I can flag it, and then we can kind of move forward from there. So I'm pretty excited about that. The agenda for tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about LinkedIn. I got an issue with LinkedIn, and I got an issue with LinkedIn with a couple of things, and honestly, it's going to be more constructive for you and also for other people as well. And then we're going to talk about imperfect action, right? There's a lot of things that have held me back, and a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about tonight are personal, but I believe that they actually fit you. They fit you in your case. They fit you in your situation and where you currently are in your life as well. And then, of course, we're going to move into what's important now. That is the title of this live stream, and that is definitely what we're going to be talking about. And we're going to be talking about FOMO, the fear of missing out, and how that has almost kind of been debilitating a little bit for me, and I think for other people as well. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what's next, and based on what's next for Worthy Leadership Group and also the podcast as well. So before we get started, I just want to make sure I recognize some people here as well. All right. This is a great job. And I think that's my buddy, Jerry Lewis. I appreciate you, buddy. I really do. Thanks for hanging out with me. My man Mario. Mario, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. How you doing, big guy? Mario was in the leader group with me. Uh, Amazing family man, amazing man of God, and has some amazing content as well too. So be on the lookout for that brother as well. So a couple of things I wanted to talk about. You know, this whole LinkedIn thing, and those of you who know me, those of you who are friends with me, this is going to be constructive for you. This is a kind of a PSA for you. And um, how many of you out there have a email address that you have had, gosh, for maybe more than 10 years? How about, I don't know, maybe 12 years? So I'm raising my hand because that's me. And the reason I say that is because, unbeknownst to me, and it wasn't until I started noticing something, that uh, my email was hacked, and consequently, my LinkedIn account was hacked, and there were people who were actually sending emails, um, supposedly on my behalf, to my connections around jobs, and these kind of quick, get quick schemes. And thankfully, I have some really good connections and some people who know me. You know my character, they know what I stand for, and they started sending me emails saying, "Dude, I know this isn't you. You must have gotten hacked." And so that's exactly what happened. However, it wasn't so much my LinkedIn that got hacked. It was my email address, because my email address has been around. My personal email address has been around probably since the inception of emails, and it really has been around that long. And I did a search in this one website place, and I saw that my email was part of over 17 different breaches. And I just recently found this out. And so I was working with LinkedIn to try to get my account back. But as soon as I got the account back, I lost it again. And so that's when I realized and noticed that my email address was the culprit. It was not so much LinkedIn's issue per se. It was my email that was hacked. And it was my email that I've had for over, gosh, like I said, since the inception of emails. So if you have a older email address, I would highly, highly, highly recommend you change it. I don't care how many people um, that currently use your email address, and they send you stuff. And typically, if you've had it for a while, a lot of the content that's actually on there that you receive is probably just old and antiquated, and it's also based off of your email probably being sold over and over again to different catalogs and all this other stuff. So anyway, um, I will be setting up a brand new LinkedIn account. Um, I'm excited about it because initially, and if I can be very honest with you, I was pretty pissed off. I was pretty pissed off because I have spent a better part of my career building up my credibility and building up, um, my connections and contacts and all these people, right? And I was really upset because part of that I felt was lost. I think I'm going to be able to merge, the accounts when I get when I get the new one set up. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I should be able to kind of do that as well. So if you've had an old email address, go ahead and change it and set up two. I am. Here's the thing. Here's a disclaimer. I am not a um, cyber security, expert. I know a couple of a couple of them, and I had spoken to a couple of them. They're the ones that actually help me out. So once again, this is not a knock on LinkedIn. This is more constructive for you so that you understand that your information is susceptible, and that things that you have worked for a long period of time can sort of kind of be taken away from you as well. So anyway, just wanted to say that. All righty. Got a couple people. Hey, if you are watching this via Facebook, which the majority of you are, if you want to make sure that you click that link, I think I can see everybody's your actual comment, but I can't see who you are, and that's okay. Some people I can. Mario, I can actually see you because I think you already use Ecamm Live and things like that. But I think this person I'm trying to actually add is to the broadcast. Oh, there it is. So this was I believe this was for someone who actually had their email account for a long period of time as well too. So I appreciate you saying that as well. All right, so let's move into something else. Let's move into part of what I wanted to discuss with all of you tonight was around taking imperfect action. And because it is something that has messed me up for a little while, until I kind of got over myself, until I've actually kind of constructed this, what I call this 2X identity. And what it really is about showing up. How do you show up differently? And how you show up will dictate how you act, how you take action, how you see things differently. And the imperfect action, here's the issue. Is that a lot of times we get stuck and caught up in the paralysis of analysis. We get stuck in our own minds. We get stuck telling ourselves things that, listen to me, if someone else would tell us the things that we would tell ourselves, man, oh man. We are tethered to those things. We're tethered to our past. We're tethered to things that people have said about us. And we have taken those things and we have internalized them and we have made them into our own when they were never meant to be our own. They were never meant to be something that you hold on to or that will define you. But that's what we've done. And when you do that, it hinders you from taking action. It hinders you from moving forward because you are tethered to your past. You're tethered to what other people may think or they may say, or the potential that they may say about you. Here's the thing, man. People don't care about you. And what I mean by that is that the reason people say something is just to say it. And half the time they'll say something about you is because they wish they had the gumption to do what you're doing. Period. So taking imperfect action is number one about your beliefs, right? So I'll just run through this in a second. I'm going to run through all of them and go back to beliefs. Your beliefs begets your thoughts, and then your thoughts beget your actions, and then your actions, of course, become your outcomes. So your beliefs. What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about yourself? Ask yourself that. What are those things that within your life you have internalized, you have believed and thought about yourself, and it could be a scar. It could be something that has been traumatic in your life. It could have been something that happened as a child. It could have been something that has really, really hurt you and caused you to believe something about yourself that was never meant there. That was never there. That was never there. But you believed it, and you still believe it, right? And I know we have all gone through things. We have all gone through different trials and tribulations in our life. However, the belief system that we have about things that are negative about us is even more so for those things that are positive about us. And I think that we live in a world nowadays where there's so much negativity that, I mean, whether it could be social media, whether it could be in the news, it could be whatever it could be. There's so many things that are negative out there. And we feed into those things, right? We feed into those things, and we put part of those things into our lives, and we shouldn't. We shouldn't. You are uniquely you. Period. And so what you believe about yourself turns into your thoughts, into how you verbalize things, how you communicate to others. Whether it's your body language, your nonverbal body language, or your actual verbal language, or verbally, right? What you say about yourself, what you say about a situation. Those are the things. Your beliefs beget your thoughts, and then your thoughts are those things that trigger you when you're thinking about trying to do something big, right? This is a whole nother live that I could talk about. I could talk about imposter syndrome, right? Could talk about that all day long. But your thoughts and how you perceive yourself are those things that truly hold you back. And I firmly believe that if we have to think about thoughts from an imposter syndrome standpoint, it's when you're on the brink of something that's really going to be changing your life. What do you believe about yourself? What are those thoughts that you have daily, consistently? When you wake up, what do you think about yourself? When you're in a bad mood, when you're driving, when you're successful. One of the things that I talk to my teams all the time, and they get tired of me talking to them about it, is because when we have a win, right here, I'll back up. Whenever we do something or something turns out wrong, or a situation doesn't go the way we anticipate, listen to me, we can talk all day long about that. All day long. I'm in retail. I'm an executive in retail. And so, if I go to a business unit and I go in and I walk and it's a bad visit or something, man, I get all types of excuses about why it's bad, why it's, this is out of place, why we're not making sales, why payroll is high, why wages are out of whack, all these things. But one of the first things I do, if I go into a place and it's great, one of the first things I ask is why. Simple question. Super simple question. And I get a lot of, well, it's just because we do what we do. No, it's not. It's not. There's something deeper to the thought process of winning and what you do that's a lot deeper than this is just what we do. So your thoughts and how you see things, right? When you talk negatively all the time, but when you are successful, and you can't explain to others, why you're winning or why you're successful at something, to explain it, man, that's something that's amazing. I was just watching Doc Rock. Doc Rock's in the ECAM community. Who was he talking to? I think he was talking to Robert Kennedy III, RK3, and they were talking about compliments, your ability or inability to be able to take a compliment. And I just thought that was outstanding. I thought that was a great conversation, because the minute someone says something to you that, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to use Anna Hill as an example. I got Anna Hill, and Anna, oh my gosh, you know what? You are an amazing photographer. Oh no, Steve, I'm not that great. You do a disservice to the compliment that I just paid you. But that's because of our thoughts and how we see ourselves. I can talk about this one all day. Let's move on to actions. So, because we're talking about imperfect action, your beliefs beget your thoughts, and then your actions, and then your thoughts beget your actions, and whatever you think about yourself, that's how you're going to act. Whether it's perfectly, or do you think it's going to be perfect, or it's going to be imperfect. Here's the thing, here, dude. There's no perfect action. There's nothing perfect that you can say. There's nothing perfect that you can truly do. You can only act. Can only act. Right? You can only act. I was in the Air Force, and I was chosen to be a squad leader, and I didn't want to be a squad leader. At 18 years old, around New York, I didn't want to be a squad leader, and so I did everything possible. I did everything possible to get out of it. Everything possible to get out of it, man. And I got out of it. On the way back from our second clothing issue, and the training instructor told me to get to the back. We get back to the squadron. He calls me in to the office, and he says, "Worthy, you think you got out of it, don't you?" And in my head, I'm like, "Oh, hell." And said, "You're not going to be squad leader anymore, but now you're going to be latrine queen." And so what that is, so squad leader, you're in charge for 20 people, right? Because it's like 60 people total. So you're in charge for 20 people. Now, as a latrine queen, you are responsible for the entire cleanliness level of the bathroom for 60 some odd dudes, 18 to 27-year-olds in Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. But here's the thing. There's two things about leadership. And I think there's two things about action, to be honest with you. There's either the reward or the responsibility. There are two ways. There's two ways it can go. And so, honestly, I didn't even want the responsibility. So I didn't want to take any action, period. But guess what? He forced me to take action by doing something else, by assigning me somewhere else. And that's what I did. So I was forced to take action, forced to take imperfect action. Forced to. A lot of us aren't forced to take imperfect action. And by taking that imperfect action, guess what? I was super successful. I learned on the fly and how to lead people, and how to delegate, and how to assign tasks. Right? And we were successful. We won so many accommodations because I was forced to take imperfect action, and then that action led to amazing outcomes. Right? As Michael Jordan says, right, we miss 100% of the shots that we don't take. 100%. 100% of the shots that we don't take, we miss. So your inability to take imperfect action, that's your issue. And that's something that you need to work through, and you need to start at the very beginning, which is your beliefs. What do you believe about yourself? What do you think about yourself? What are those thoughts? What action are you going to take? So for imperfect action, quick standpoint. Reframe your thought process. Reframe it, man. Very simple. And I know it sounds simple, but there are so many things that you have probably had to overcome mentally. But you have to reframe how you see yourself and how you see the outcome. I love golf. I hated it for a long time because it was so difficult for me. But once I learned how to see myself actually hitting the ball and seeing where I wanted to actually place the ball. Now, I wasn't perfect at it. The first couple of times it was an imperfect action, but I had to reframe how I saw things. And once I did that, I practiced and I routined. And guess what? I started hitting the ball exactly where I needed it to go. Exactly where I needed it to go. I had to reframe my perspective. If I've never done that, I would still be stuck, at a, 25 handicap, which is bad. Just to give you some frame of reference. Shift to a novice. You have to think about it. You have to think about the action that you want to take, not as being a a professional. And I think I talked a little bit about this. I think it was Anna and I think it was Anna and Licio. We were talking about, like, you have to be a professional, like, to get past this imposter syndrome standpoint. But from an imperfect action standpoint, you need to shift to a novice. You need to think of things that are very basic. You need to think and see things, think about it in a very basic way. Because if you start to think about it more complex, the more complex the ideas or the action that you want to take, I think the more we get stuck. So if you can think about it and shift to a novice standpoint, guess what, man? It becomes a lot easier. It becomes a lot easier. So doing this live, right beforehand, when I was doing this live, and I was trying it out, and then I did Lita, right, for 30 days straight. Man, that first day I look back in that video, man, I was shaking in my boots. I was scared. I was nervous because I wanted it to be perfect, and I knew it wasn't going to be perfect. But I had to take imperfect action. And so what I did was I started thinking about it as a novice. I said, let me just start. And then we did Phone Week. And Phone Week was amazing for me because I didn't have all of these lights. I didn't have any of this stuff. I didn't have my camera or any of that stuff. I just had my phone and I was going live. And it was the best thing in the world for me. It built up my confidence because I didn't have anything but myself to rely on. It was the basics. And now, I got a couple of little fancy, overlays, and I got some really sweet ones coming from my man Alicio. I'm pretty stoked about that. Can't wait for that, for the new brand that we're going to be talking about probably on Sunday. So anyway, shift to a novice. Identify when. What's important now? This is probably the most important part, right? Is that if we don't shift and think about what's important now, at this moment, right, when you're talking about taking imperfect action, if you start thinking about taking all these different actions and, 5 steps down the line and all these other stuff, all these other things, you're never going to get anywhere. It's just not going to happen for you. You have to be okay. You have to be okay. I've learned this being in leadership. Typically, when you're a young leader, you're a new leader, you want everybody to lead like you. You want people to think like you. You want people to see things like you. And you go, I'm super fast. I'm quick. I can see things quickly. I can problem solve super fast. It's kind of a superpower. However, it's got me a lot of trouble as a young leader. But as an older leader, now I realize how I can help people understand that it's okay to go from point A to A1, A2, and then to B. As long as they get to B, it's okay. So when I talk about what's important now, it could be your tendencies to go from A to B. It could be you need to go from A to A1 or to A2. Because if you keep thinking about B, you're never going to get there. Honestly, you're never going to get there. It's going to take you a while to get there because you'll get stuck. So decide on what that A1 is going to be, what that A2 is going to be, and then do. Do, man. You got to do it, right? My team, I talk. I got a lot of sayings and a lot of things that I've learned over the years being a leader. It's either, when we talk about talent, I talk to my team a lot about talent. And I always say it's either they don't know or they don't do. It's period. Very simple. They don't know. Listen to me, dude. I can work with you all day long if you don't know, because then that's my job. My job is to help you. My job is to help you move forward, teach, coach, and train you to do different things, right? But man, if you know and don't do, that's an attitude issue. That's something completely different. That's something it's either passive aggressive. That's something that you're unwilling. You're unwilling to take action. And if you know, that's a problem. So it's either you don't know, or you don't do. Same thing with imperfect action. So if you know and you don't do, that's on you. That's on you. All right. All right. So let's move into trying to connect, get a couple of comments. Oh, hello. Uh-oh. What happened? There you go. Hello, Anna. How are you? I hope you're doing well tonight. Thank you for connecting. I appreciate that. I really do. And we have someone says hello. Thank you. And I got a big thumbs up from someone. I'm not sure. My man. What's going on? How you doing, my cousin Evelyn? How are you doing? Excellent. Thank you, guys. I'm just looking on my phone while I'm going live just to make sure if I can see the names on this as well too. Well, thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate that. If you have any thoughts or any comments or anything that you want to share, please don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. I'm just gonna go down to 8 o'clock, so I got a little bit more to do here. So we just talked about. Let me just go back up to the agenda. So we talked a little bit about LinkedIn, the issue with LinkedIn that I had, imperfect action, as well. We just finished that up as well. Now we're going to talk about like when and fear of missing out, and then kind of talk a little bit about what's next as well. So, taking imperfect action for me was something that has hindered me for a period of time because I want things to be some measure of perfect. I don't know what that is. I don't know what perfect is. I really don't. And I think the tendency for me is because I can see things fairly quickly, situations, processes, routines, people, talent. I'm a super good judge of character, I feel, and who you are, kind of what you stand for. And so I think for me, I always probably stood in some measure of judgment because I can see things fairly quickly, and that judgment probably of others has caused me to not take perfect action or imperfect action because of the fear of the same judgment that I was probably providing for other people. Get that. Dig that. I hope y'all got that one. That was the price of admission right there. The same thing that we don't like in somebody else, it's probably the same thing that we don't like in ourselves. And so taking imperfect action for me was deep rooted in things that I liked or disliked about myself, or that I disliked or thought about other people. And I felt that same judgment, if you will, was going to come upon me. And so I didn't do it. I didn't do this live. When I started doing some of these lives, I was just like, oh man, I'm going to do it. Yeah, I'm going to just go for it. Then I was like, oh, the fear, like, what if I suck? What if I, what happens if, the lights go out? What happens if this happens or whatever it is? And all these other things start running through my head. It just doesn't matter. So let's move into this next topic because I think it's going to connect with a lot of people. And it's helped me move past certain things in my life. The other side, the flip side of this, the fear of missing out. Let me know in the comments if you've ever heard of the fear of missing out. If you have, just say yes. Say yes in the comments. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Say yes in the comments. Let me know. Thanks, Eddie, man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Let me know if you guys have ever heard of the fear of missing out, or if you've ever experienced it. Why do we deal with, why do we have this fear of missing out? What is it about us that we always think that the grass is greener? Why? It's because of that second one. It's others. Because we're so focused in on others. We're so focused in. Thank you, Evelyn. So yeah, Evelyn says, yes, she's dealt with it as well. Because we're so focused on other people. We're so focused on, especially nowadays, Lord have mercy. I mean, everybody and their mama is Instagram famous, Instagram wealthy, Instagram fitness instructor. Oh, and then don't get me started talking about Clubhouse. Everybody's an influencer, and I want to be an influencer. I want to be Instagram famous, right? And we get stuck looking at others and looking at what we think other people have. Man, I spent a lot of my life dealing with that. A lot of my life dealing with that. Several years ago, was in a room, and my wife was cleaning up stuff in the room, and she said, "Why do you need so many watches? Why do you need so many watches?" And so what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I need these watches. I'm not gonna get into the name of the watches, but at this point in my life, in my career, pretty successful, doing some really good things, and I felt that I needed these certain watches, and I said, okay, well, I can afford one now. Great. Start making some more money. Oh, got a bonus. Bonus was really nice. Hey, let me get another one. End up getting three of them. And you guys can probably take a guess of which ones I'm talking about. Got the little crown on it, little crown in the thing. And I had three of these watches. Didn't need them whatsoever. But the fear of missing out, of the opportunity of being seen as something that I wasn't within corporate America, was so strong, that it caused me to take the third one, action, and it caused me to take the wrong action. It caused me to think about myself in terms that were unhealthy. It caused me to start to rationalize why I needed X, Y, and Z to be seen, to be noticed, or to matter. Right? And that was literally my thought process. I rationalized the heck out of it. Oh, I need this watch for this. I need this one when I take a jet trip here. I need this one if I go up to home office, and all these different things. Didn't need them whatsoever. End up getting rid of them. End up getting rid of all of them because I was so focused on others. The fear of missing out. The fear of missing out also turns into the fear of regret, the fear of not mattering, the fear of people of not fitting in. And so we start to take these actions that are not like ourselves just so that we can fit in, just so that this fear of missing out is lessened, right? It's subdued, and we subdue it with things, and we take actions that are not constructive for us. They're not constructive for us. They're not. Let me take a... Sometimes I get too much conflicting feedback. Oh, let me make sure I got this over here. I just wanted to take comments. Sometimes I get too much conflicting feedback on something that I try, that it can be overwhelming, and I overanalyze. Yeah. And I think that's where you have to be careful about who you get your feedback from, right? Because that same person or persons that we think are the right person to give us the feedback may not be. They may not be. I have a select few, probably 3 or 4 dudes that I know I can call at any time, even if I haven't spoken to him in a while. Eddie's one of them. He's in here. Wayman, man. I know I can call that dude, and we can just talk about anything. We haven't spoken to each other in a while, but we've always had each other's back, which is crazy. So I think about overanalyzing, overwhelming, and you overanalyze because listen to me. The feedback we care about. I hate when people say, "I don't care about what people say about me." Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You do. To some degree, you do. And whatever it is that they may say about you, we go back to, the imperfect action and talking about your belief systems. And that's what happens sometimes we start to analyze things or overanalyze things that people may say about us from a feedback standpoint, because we will connect to that little piece of feedback. Everything could be great, but then that little piece of feedback, that little piece of feedback triggers something that inside of our head, inside of our psyche, that we have, we've repressed and haven't thought about in a while, but that little piece of feedback just brings everything to the forefront. And we start to take that as the gospel about who we are. I'm just preaching to the choir here. I'm just talking to myself, and I'm not, I noticed that you put this up here, but I'm just preaching to myself, man. So I appreciate you putting that up there. Let me see if this thing works here. There we go. I'm trying this new technology out. So, and once you, this is a follow-up. And I overanalyze and I want to give up, but fear of missing out keeps me going. So I guess, and what you're saying is a positive aspect of the fear of missing out, right? Now, the fear of missing out can be healthy. It can be healthy because it does cause you to take some action, right? It can cause you to take some action, whether it's a business that you want to start or something along those lines. And so the fear of missing out can cause you to take some positive action. However, if you get stuck in the paralysis of analysis around whatever that action is, then it can move into something that's completely different. But I appreciate you you putting that up there. Let me go back here. I think I got one more. I was sending my Addy, so you can give me one of those shows. I got you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Let me see if there's anything else. Let me see. I don't ever think I had the fear of missing out. For me, it was more of being lazy at times. I've gotten a lot better as I grew. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, man. And that's you, Eddie Wayman, Mr. Wayman. That's Here's the thing, man. Because I know you, right? I mean, I know you, and I've finally taken your advice over the last probably 5-6 years now. You were the first dude to turn me on to Apple products. I don't know if you remember those conversations that we had. Oh, dude, you got to get the Apple products. You got to get that. And I was like, no, I'm not getting Apple. But anyway, I am super duper fanboy for Apple. But just to get back to your comment, I don't necessarily think you were lazy, man. I honestly think you're doing exactly what you're doing right now. I know you were trying a whole bunch of different things, and you're probably trying to figure out to see what was going to stick. But now, dude, you're right in your wheelhouse, man. You're right in your wheelhouse. What are you saying applies? I'm not sure. What do you mean? Can you follow that? Can you follow that up? I'm not sure. What are you saying applies? Help me out with that one. So the fear of missing out can be something that can cause you to not take action. It could cause you to take action that could be the wrong action, or it could cause you to take action that's actually going to be something that's going to be impactful for you. So if you start to think about the whys, if you don't focus in on others and you take action for yourself, you take action because it's the action that's going to be important for you in your life and what you're trying to do, then it's completely different. So how do you approach the fear of missing out? How do you approach, let me put it back up here. How do you approach imperfect action? So from a win standpoint, what's important now? What's important now for you in your life? What's important now for you to take action? What are you going to do tonight, tomorrow morning? What are you going to believe about yourself? What are going to be those thoughts that you have about yourself that will either cause you to take action, take imperfect action, or take action that's just necessary for you to move forward with whatever it is that you're trying to do, period. So before I get to that one, let me move back to this one. I got another comment here. Yes, things you were saying in response to my earlier comment was right on. Oh, okay, to my point. All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure I got that one out. So I got 8 minutes left, but I'm gonna I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of what's next and what's going to be taking place. Oh man, these lights! I got to do something with these lights, man. I'm a little shiny. This is also a lie, but it's also me critiquing myself just a little bit. Thinking about that, I would love to get your feedback on what you guys think about the lighting, the sound. If it sounds good, whatever your thoughts are, about this, because I'm gonna do this consistently on Wednesdays and Sunday nights. I think that those are two of the best nights for me in my schedule, just to be very honest. And I think the biggest thing is going to be for me to show up. We were doing something in Lita, and we were talking about we had to create these alter egos. Lita, which is live each and every day in August, which was a group that I just finished, with in Facebook, and we talked about creating alter egos, like this person, and it's not a person that's not inside of you, right? It's all these things, whether it's imperfect action, fear of missing out, and trying to understand ourselves better and trying to move past some of this stuff. Dude, we already have that inside of us. We already have it inside of us. It is just moving past ourselves, getting past ourselves, cutting the tether of our past and how we think about ourselves and those things so that we can move forward. So I created this alter ego, and his name is Show Up Steve. Show Up Steve. One of the things that I'll be talking about in a future live is finishing, and finishing strong, because part of that, as a leader, as the people that we talk to, the people that we coach, we talk a lot about finishing. We talk a lot to our clients about, they come to us a lot with the idea of the fear of missing out, but also the fear of running out of time. A lot of that. Get a lot of clients talking about that. The fear of running out of time. And so for me, that has caused me to move forward. Also the fear of missing out. The fear of missing out that somebody, I don't know who it is, somebody needs to hear what I have to say. I don't know who it is. I'm not sure who it is. Tonight, going forward, whoever it is, there's something that I have to say, that I have to offer, content-wise, perspective, whatever it may be, that someone may need to hear. And if I don't take action, or I don't take imperfect action, or I don't leverage the fear of missing out, that person will never hear what I have to say. Think about that. Think about that. Whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that's holding you back, there's somebody out there waiting for you. There's somebody out there waiting to hear what you have to say, waiting for that. So Wednesday and Sundays are going to be the time frame that I feel that I can actually do this consistently. So I'm excited about that. New business and podcast. So Worthy Leadership Group. I'm not going to make a big announcement today. It'll probably be Sunday night. But we are changing up. So my hiatus, if you will, from lives and also posting in a group was because of me thinking deeper and deeper about what it is and who it is that I truly want to impact and how I can impact people. So the podcast, I ended up getting a podcast coach, and we walked through a whole bunch of exercises and some thoughts around my content on my current podcast. And we ended up discussing a niche, if you will. You know, he challenged me to niche down or niche down from where I currently was. And I did that. Then he challenged me to come up with X number of episodes. I think I came up with 3 times that number of episodes because there was a sense of clarity and freedom for what it is that I wanted to talk about. And so I'm moving forward with that. And the fear of missing out played a massive role that held me back with Worthy Leadership Group and the Worthy podcast, because I was trying to please everybody. I was trying to go after everybody. So the fear of missing out was making sure that I don't miss touching and talking to everybody who I felt that I needed to. So I felt over time, even though my content and the messaging was strong, I don't feel that it hit the right people. And so on Sunday, we'll be talking a lot more about the new business ideas and the podcast and how the impact that this is going to have for the group as well. So thirdly, if you're interested in the newsletter, I should have had actually, do I still have that here? I don't think I do. It is at www.worthyleadershipgroup.com/now. And you can sign up for the newsletter. We will be relaunching that shortly. So, but if you want to sign up for that newsletter, we're excited about that. We have a whole bunch of things going on, man. We got courses that we're going to be talking about. We have a private community that we're developing. So my hiatus from this group has caused me to iterate and niche down and really provided some clarity. So we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of other things as well. If there's a topic that you are interested in hearing more about, I'm not a professional on all the topics, but I do know a lot of really good people. And if there's a topic that has to do with leadership and growth, your leadership journey, let me know, please. So that way I can actually probably put it into my run sheet for shows and kind of come up with some different topics. And then lastly, if you have any feedback for me on the content, anything that you may have seen, anything that you may have liked to see, lighting, all this other jazz, everything, We're going to be redoing the studio here shortly. It's an office, but I call it a studio, and I'm pretty excited about it. More to come on that. Hopefully you'll get to see a little bit of the transformation of this space, because I spent a lot of time in here and I want it to be a little more comfortable than what it is right now. It's pretty sweet. I'm enjoying it, but I want it to be a little more comfortable. So once again, I am Steve Worthy, CEO of Worthy Leadership Group and also host of the Worthy Podcast. And you have been listening to What's Important Now live stream. I wish you all a good night. Have a great day, and God bless.